Okay, in this video we're going to actually create, instead of a polygon shapefile, we're going to do a polyline shapefile to digitize some of the faults. So how you do that, you should remember when we first started with our polygon shapefile, we went to catalogs here. Make sure you're in your shapefile folder you created, right click, go to new, go down to shapefile, give it a name. So let's call this 2526 underscore faults. Okay, 2526 underscore faults. And you need to go here and change it to polyline. And remember, you have to change the coordinate system. So geographic, spheroid based, Clark 1880. Click OK. Click OK. And you'll see it shows up on the left hand side here under your table of contents. Okay, so now we're going to zoom in to try and find some faults to digitize. And you can see, wow, this is quite a prolific run over here going into a dashed fault. So you all should know that if it's solid, it's been mapped on surface, dashed means it's inferred that it continues this way. The problem with ArcGIS and digitizing is that if somebody just digitizes all of it and doesn't tell you that there's inferred over here, then over time people just start to think that a fault exists in an area where it isn't. So it would be good practice to digitize this lower part and labeled it as mapped, and then this upper part to label it as inferred. I'm going to take off my lithologies here so I can see how this fault continues further down. So it seems to, they've mapped it as continuing all the way down here, all the way down into the edge. So let's digitize this fault over here, and then we can also digitize how it extends upwards. And so remember, we need to be in start editing. Let's just save what we've got so far, and make sure on the left hand side we have selected the correct feature here. So I just had to figure out how to find it. I remember what the problem was. So as soon as you create a new shapefile up here, you actually have to physically go and stop the editing and go and start the editing again. And you'll see that only then does it list it on the right hand side here. And it's listed the one that I've selected. So if you cannot find your feature on the right hand side in this feature, create feature, go and stop your editing, start it again, and it will reappear on the side. Okay, so I click on it up here so that I can use these icons up here. And I'm going to go all the way from down here and digitize. It seems to go along the edge of this granifier. Again, you would want to zoom in to be a bit more accurate. I'm just doing it quickly here. Zoom out. Okay. And I can double click or right click and finish. I'm going to double click, and I'm going to go here and go save edit. Okay, so if I go on right click here and go open attribute table, this is my line. Now I'm going to create a column here that's lists whether it's a mapped fault or it's an inferred fault. So remember, we have to go stop editing, then we come here and we go add field, and we're going to call it mapped. And I don't know if you can do a dash. Let's see. And remember, we are going to write as a text. Let's see if it accepts that heading. Okay, I think it doesn't like the fact that I've got a dash, so I'm going to put underscore. No, it doesn't like that either. Okay, but it did seem like to like that. Can you actually change it? If you right click on the header and go to properties, you can go here and let's add in an F here for inferred. I should have actually said mapped and inferred, sorry. Okay, so we then have to go here and go start editing in order to type here that we know this was a mapped fault. Okay, and closed. And then you could come up here, let's click and drag, and we could map the inferred part of it. So remember, go here, click on the side on, under create features, click on fold so that you can do straight segment, and I'm going to go from the edge. It shows you where the last endpoint was. I'm going to click up. There's a lot of branches to this fault as well. Let's zoom out. It doesn't look like it goes further up, it looks like it ends over here, and you double click. So let's go to our table here, open attribute, and I'm going to say inferred. Okay, and close and click on save edits. So that's how you create a polyline. Unfortunately, we don't have too much detail about what type of fault it is, but if you knew if it was a normal or a thrust fault, what you can do is go over here to your table and right click and go properties. And we could go and edit the symbols. So how you do that is you leave it under here under single symbols, and you click here on this line symbol, and now we are going to go here to style references. So these are all different styles that you can choose. You can see right now there's just roads that you can currently choose from. So as soon as you go into style references, there's trees, and we obviously want to scroll down to geology 24 and click on it, and it will list all the geology faults here. You can see normal faults. There's so many. If you wanted to type here, you could type normal and click enter, and it'll bring up all your normal faults. Okay, so I assume this is a normal fault since it doesn't have any thrust symbols on it. I'm not sure if they show so much detail on the 1 in 250 map. I'll have to ask a mapping geologist. So I'm going to click on the normal fault option here and click on OK, and then click apply, and nothing much should change on your map down here. I just wanted to show you what happens if you have a thrust fault. So if you click on symbols, and if we type here thrust, it should have saved the geology information or symbols. You can see here thrust first generation. If I click on it, click OK, and if I click apply here, I just want to show you what it looks like on the map. And so you can also change the direction of the thrust if you need to. And so how you would do that, let me just close, I think, can I do this at the same time? No, let me close the window. I'm going to go up here to editor. I'm going to click on this fault I've just made into a thrust. I'm going to right click, and I've gone to the wrong place, hold on. I think it was because I didn't double click on the fault. So if I click once and right click, all of these options come up. If I double click on the fault and right click, you can see the green vertices are shown and this different menu comes up. And if I click flip, it flips the direction of the thrust. So if this is a thrust fault, that is what you would show. But I'm going to go back and change it to just the straight line. Okay. Also, if you knew the dip on your fault, you could add that to the map. And so how you do that, okay, so say for example you knew your fault had a dip of 45 degrees. You would open your attribute table and you create a column that says dip. So how you do that is you go stop editing, save your edits, yes, thankfully it asks you automatically. Go here, go add field, say dip. You're going to leave in here short integer because it's a number, not a text that you're typing. Click OK, and so we're going to put our dip here. Oh, we can't put it in until we go here and go start editing. So we're going to write a dip of 45 degrees. Okay, we're going to save our edits. Okay, so how you could actually label that on your faults if you needed to, you would go up here, go right click, properties, go to labels, takes a while to load. Okay, we're going to label features in this layer, and we are going to choose what we're going to label it with is the dip. You might want to make it a bit bigger. Let's make 24, and click on placement properties. We're going to choose orientation parallel, position below, offset. I'm going to leave the offset as 0, And I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to click Apply. Let's see if we can actually see it on our map. Move this out the way. If I take our map away, can I see a number anyway? Okay, I have to close this window. Okay, so it's showing up the 45 up top there. You could play around with where exactly it's going to display it on the map. You can see up here is your 45. So that's if in your study area for your honours or your masters you get a lot of details about the types of faults and their dips, you could add in this information.